The skies above Earth lit up with silver trails. People stopped in the streets, looked up, and gasped. Giant alien ships floated silently through the clouds, blocking the sun. For a moment everyone froze. Then, the message came. It was broadcast. On every screen, every device, and every satellite, a tall silver-skinned alien with glowing blue eyes appeared. "I am Calva of the Varnak Empire," the alien said in a deep, echoing voice. "We come in peace, and we bring gifts." The world erupted with joy. Aliens, real aliens, not invaders, not attackers, but peaceful beings who brought technology, knowledge and weapons. They said they wanted to help Earth grow, to join the Galactic Council one day. As a sign of friendship, the Varnak gave humanity a set of advanced weapons, laser rifles, orbital shields, and something called a pulse cannon. It was like a dream, but not everyone was celebrating. Dr. Lena Ward, lead engineer at Earth's Orbital Research Division, watched the alien crates being unloaded from the Varnak ships. Soldiers stood proudly next to them. Cameras flashed. Politicians smiled and shook hands. Lena didn't smile. "These designs," she whispered to herself. "Something is wrong." She studied the weapons with her team, scanning every part, every signal, every line of alien code. At first glance, the tech looked powerful, way beyond anything Earth had. But something didn't feel right. The power systems were unstable. The rifle barrels were too weak. The pulse cannon's core had design flaws that could cause it to overload. Lena frowned. "Did they give us broken weapons?" Her assistant, Mark, asked. Lena didn't answer. She stared at one of the laser rifles on the lab table. It looked sleek and elegant, but her tests showed that it couldn't fire more than 2 shots before melting from the inside. Across the planet, celebrations continued. Nations proudly showed their new alien weapons. Earth's military leaders gave speeches, training videos were made. Special units were formed, calling themselves the Galactic Guard. And all the while, up in orbit, the Varnak ships floated quietly, watching. Inside one of those ships, deep in a glowing command chamber, Calva stood with other Varnak leaders. Holograms showed human soldiers testing the weapons, failing to notice the flaws. "They truly believe we gave them gifts." Calva laughed. The others joined in, their voices like cold wind. "Let them play soldier," one Varnak commander said. "Their confidence will become their coffin. They won't even realize they've been tricked." Another whispered, "And when the next real threat comes, Earth will fall." But humans were not as blind as the Varnak thought. In a secret underground facility beneath Iceland, Lena and a small group of engineers had locked themselves away. They were rebuilding the alien weapons, correcting the flaws, changing the designs, making them work the way they were meant to. "What if this was a test?" Mark asked. "What if the Varnak gave us broken tech to see what we'd do with it? Then we'll show them," Lena replied. "We don't just copy it, we improve." Meanwhile, Earth's political leaders were unaware of the coming danger. 3 weeks after the Varnak left orbit, Earth's outer colony on Europa sent a distress signal. Pirate ships and known attackers were invading. The Galactic Guard rushed in, confident and proud. They were ready to use the alien weapons. The battle lasted for minutes. When the first human soldiers fired their laser rifles, the weapons sparked and jammed. When the orbital shield was activated, it collapsed after 10 seconds. The pulse cannon fired once, then exploded, killing everyone nearby. Europa fell. Millions watched the tragedy unfold in real time. Earth's hope turned into horror. Suddenly, the weapons didn't feel like gifts anymore. In the aftermath, people began to ask questions. Scientists rechecked the weapons. Engineers ran deeper tests. The truth began to surface. "These weren't just effective," Lena said during a private council meeting. "They were designed to fail." The room went silent. Earth had been tricked. The Varnak had never intended to help. They had humiliated humanity in front of the galaxy. The message was clear. You are weak, and you don't belong out here. But they had made one mistake. They thought humans would accept it. Instead, humanity grew silent. The Galactic Guard disbanded. The alien weapons were quietly collected and taken away. But behind locked doors, beneath the planet's surface, and in the darkness of the moon's hidden labs, Earth began to work. They didn't announce anything. No speeches, no parades, just silence and effort. For months, teams like Lena's worked night and day. They re-engineered the alien designs, using human materials, human understanding. Where the Varnak used sleek metal, humans used hardened alloys. Where alien circuits failed under stress, humans added backups, redundant systems that kept running even after damage. One of the new prototypes, the SR-1 rail launcher, could fire 5-ton projectiles at near light speed. Another, called the Mirror Pulse Array, could bend its energy shot around obstacles. The new human tech didn't just match what the Varnock gave it, surpassed it, and no one outside Earth knew it. The next chapter was coming, and Earth was writing it alone. Deep in the orbital defense station, Lena looked out at the stars. They laughed at the weapons they gave us, she said quietly. Now let's see if they laugh at the ones we built ourselves. Europa base was under attack. Smoke covered the domes. Human soldiers hid behind broken walls. One of them, Captain Ezra Cole, raised his alien pulse rifle and pulled the trigger. Click. Nothing. He hit it again. It sparked. Then it exploded and his hand, the scream that followed wasn't just Panette, was betrayal. Europa, the ice-covered moon, was Earth's pride, the first colony beyond Mars, a place of research, water mining, and dreams. Now it was burning. Unmarked ships had come, from deep space raiders, pirates, or maybe worse. They didn't talk. They didn't negotiate. They just opened fire. Human soldiers rushed to defend. The Galactic Guard was ready, trained, equipped, and confident. They carried the gifts from the Varnic Empire: alien laser rifles, hyper pulse cannons, energy shields. The weapons looked beautiful, sleek metal, glowing lights, strange writing on the sides, but they were useless. Private Lane fired his rifle. It buzzed, glowed, and then melted. Sergeant Yuki threw a pulse grenade, bounced twice and fizzled out like a toy. The shield dome activated for only 12 seconds before it collapsed under enemy fire. One by one, Earth's brave defenders fell. Captain Ezra Cole had survived the first wave. His right arm was gone, his left eye burned. But what hurt most wasn't the pain, it was the betrayal. They lied to us, he whispered, staring at the remains of his alien weapon. They gave us junk. By the time Earth received the full report, it was too late. Europa was lost. Over 38,000 people were dead. No alien fleet had come to help. No message from the Varnek. Nothing. Earth mourned. Across cities, black flags were raised. Moments of silence were held, but silence turned to anger. News anchors demanded answers. People screamed in the streets. The alien weapons weren't broken, they were designed to fail. Earth's military leaders sat in a dark meeting room, watching replay footage. Every scene showed human weapons failing at the worst time. One general punched the table. They made fools of us. President Usha Khan stood at the front. Her face was calm, but her eyes were sharp. We gave them trust, she said, and they gave us death. Behind her, Dr. Lena Ward appeared on screen. Her voice was tired, but strong. We have confirmed it, Lena said. The weapons weren't just defective, they were traps. Energy loops that feed back into themselves. Weak materials that break under real battle conditions. This was a test or a message. And what is the message? Someone asked. Lena didn't blink. We're not welcome. But humans don't quit. In the mountains of Canada, a new base was being built. Deep under the sea, near the Mariana Trench, another one was hidden. Earth stopped showing strength in public and started building it in the shadows. The Varnik thought they had made their point. They had laughed while handing over the weapons, waiting to watch humans destroy themselves with them. But they underestimated Earth's response. Not rage, not panic. Silence, the kind of silence that means something terrible is coming. 3 months passed. Then something happened. A small human mining ship near Saturn went missing. Then a civilian freighter vanished. Patrol drones picked up strange movements and marked ships jumping between moons. The Varnek were testing again, or someone was. But this time, Earth was ready. The second attack came at Titan Station. 3 alien vessels decloaked and fired warning shots. They expected chaos. Instead, the humans responded with a voice transmission. We see you. Do not run. Suddenly, the clouds above Titan cracked open. A silent shape rose from the moon's surface, sleek, dark, and unlike anything seen before. It was the Revenant-class rail platform, Earth's first true response. The aliens hesitated. Their scans showed no weapons, no heat signatures. It looked like a black rock. They laughed, and then the railgun fired. A solid slug, 12 meters long, moved at a fraction below light speed. It tore through the lead alien ship before the sound of the shot even reached the attackers. The second shot hit before the debris of the first had even cooled. One ship destroyed, another crippled. The last turned and ran. Earth didn't follow. There was no message sent. No victory speech. Just silence. In the Varna Council chamber, panic began to rise. Calvar watched the footage from Titan. He watched his ship explode in one frame and disappear in the next. They were not supposed to understand the tech, one ambassador said. They were not supposed to survive. Europa, said another. Kalvar clenched his fists. We gave them junk, and they turned it into art. Now the laughter had stopped. Across the stars, other alien empires began watching Earth more closely. The quiet species, the ones who had been conquered or ignored by the Varnaka, began to whisper, "Humans rebuilt broken weapons. What else are they building?" Back on Earth, President Khan stood with General Voss and Dr. Lena Ward. "We didn't start this," she said, "but we will finish it." Lena nodded. "Our engineers have completed 2 more platforms. We've begun adapting energy weapons too. The Varnak wanted to test us. Let's give them a result they didn't expect." General Voss smiled. "Let's show them how humans take revenge." Somewhere deep in Earth's orbit, a new stealth ship floated silently. It had no name, no signal, no registry, just a symbol etched into its hollow-cracked alien rifle with a human hand breaking it in half. Dot inside, the crew waited. Dot and far out in space, Varnak ships started to vanish one by one. This time, Earth wasn't asking for respect, it was taking it. No lights, no sounds, just the slow, heavy sound of machines working underground. Far beneath the snowy mountains of Iceland, fire burned in secret tunnels, sparks flew, steel twisted, code ran across giant black screens. A small team of humans, scientists, and ex-soldiers stood before a half-finished machine. It looked nothing like the weapons the aliens had given Earth. This one had no smooth curves, no soft lights, no alien symbols. It was ugly, heavy, sharp, powerful, and it was human. Dr. Lena Ward stepped forward. Her hands were covered in oil. Her eyes were tired but focused. She looked at the machine and said quietly, "This is not a gift. This is a warning." After the Titan attack, Earth knew one thing clearly. They were alone. No allies came. No allies came. No alien nation offered help. Even the Galactic Council remained silent. The Varnak pretended nothing had happened. They spoke sweetly at peace conferences, but behind the scenes, their spies continued to watch Earth. But Earth was no longer the same. Something had changed. The laughing had stopped, and the silence had begun. In the mountains, under the oceans, inside ancient bunkers once built for nuclear war, new life had begun. But this life didn't breathe. It HUM'd. Every lab, every factory, every hidden workshop had one goal: create real weapons. Human weapons. At first, there was doubt. "We don't understand their level of tech," someone said. "We'll never match the Varnak," said another. But Lena Ward stood before them all, and she smiled. "Then we won't match them," she said. "We'll beat them." Using the alien weapons as templates, Earth's best minds started their work. Where the alien laser rifles overheated, humans added cooling systems using nano-FLUIDs. Where energy shields failed after a few hits, humans reinforced them with kinetic absorption panels. The railgun tech was redesigned with Earth's deep-mine tungsten cores and magnetic coils wrapped with superconductors cooled by space vacuum systems. Each step was careful, quiet, hidden, and still. Fast. Because humans were angry, not loud, not wild, but cold and quiet, the kind of anger that doesn't fade. The first true success came 49 days after the Titan defense. A new prototype named SH-1 Valkyrie rail was tested deep in the Arctic. It fired a solid metal spike the size of a car through 12 meters of reinforced asteroid rock. Not only that, it hit the exact target from 900 kilometers away, adjusting in real-time mid-flight. Lena watched the impact on the monitor. No sound came from the room, just one whisper from Mark, assistant, "They won't see it coming." But Earth didn't stop at weapons. They began building ships, small, fast, invisible to most scanners. These were not designed to fight in open war. They were designed to strike, then vanish. The first ship was called Phantom Class 1. Its hull was layered with material that bent light. Its heat signature was nearly zero. Its engines were silent. It didn't have a massive fleet behind it. It didn't need one. All it needed was surprise. As the ship was launched in a silent ceremony, President Khan looked up at the stars and whispered, "They thought they gave us control, but they only gave us purpose." Meanwhile, the Varnak grew restless. Reports from their outer listening posts were strange. Unmarked object passed near asteroid base. All cameras stopped working. Scout ship lost contact near Saturn. Only debris found. Unknown transmission on human frequency. Playing music. Kalvar stood in his dark chamber looking at the star maps. Earth's light shone brighter than before. "They are not playing our game anymore," he said quietly. Another officer asked, "Then what are they doing?" Kalvar's eyes narrowed. "They're making their own." 1 week later, the Varnak sent a fake civilian ship to request help from a human patrol. The humans answered the call, but what the Varnak saw shocked them. Instead of the broken alien rifles, the humans carried heavy armor-mounted Gauss weapons. Instead of clumsy shields, they had personal reflectors that bent enemy fire. Instead of begging for aid, the humans said nothing. They escorted the civilian ship away and disabled its hidden weapons before they could activate. Cal VAR received the report and crushed the datapad in his claws. They've cracked our systems, he growled. Already the Galactic Council called for a private meeting. They had ignored Earth for too long now. They were afraid. A new power was rising, not loud, not boastful, just capable. One ambassador whispered. They were mocked, lied to, betrayed, and they responded not with cries. Another said, but with progress. Calvar stood and shouted, they are still humans, primitive apes with clever fingers. But no one agreed, because they had seen the same silent footage. A single Earth-built ship destroying a pirate station in one strike. Back on Earth, Lena walked through the underground halls of Project Ironwake. Thousands of workers moved like shadows, silent, focused, strong. She passed a door labeled V2 Echo-class drone swarm, another SR-7 Skybreaker orbital rail array. She entered her own lab. Her hands ran across the blueprints of a new project, the Revenant Project, human AI integrated battleship. It wasn't just about building back, it was about building beyond. We were never meant to follow, she said. We were meant to forged in silence, made by betrayal, perfected by loss. And now, ready for war, because the next time Earth is tested, it won't be Earth that breaks, it will be the galaxy. Mars Colony sent out a simple distress call. Unidentified ships near orbit. No response. Please advise. The message reached Earth within seconds. In a dark room beneath the Pacific Ocean, General Voss listened. He didn't speak. He didn't panic. He just pressed one button on his console. Across the world, lights turned green. Deep under Olympus Mons, giant gates opened. A silent countdown began. The enemy thought they were hunting humans again. They had no idea they had already walked into a trap. Mars had always been Earth's first step toward the stars. The colony was peaceful research teams, mining crews, a few defense drones. It wasn't built for war. At least, that's what the galaxy believed. But after Europa fell and Earth rose in silence, everything changed. Mars became a shadow fortress. Under the red soil, beneath the mountains, hidden launch bays and missile silos were built. Defense systems were layered inside rock. Satellite weapons were cloaked in Mars's radiation fields. Everything was ready. And no one outside Earth knew. The Varnak thought otherwise. Their ships arrived quietly, no flags, no declarations, just dark hulls and glowing engines. 6 warcruisers, 2 support vessels. 1 command dreadnought. They didn't plan to talk, they planned to finish what they started. Commander Jervak of the Varnak fleet stood tall in his chair. His claws tapped the control panel. Begin atmospheric scan, he said. His second officer replied, no major defense structures detected, only surface drones and civilian towers. Jervak sneered, just like Europa, this will be quick. He didn't know Earth had let them see only what they wanted. Down below, inside the Mars Central Command bunker, Director Alara Kwan stood beside General Voss on the secure screen. Are we ready? She asked. Voss nodded. They're already in the net. From orbit, the Varnak fleet spread into attack formation. Inside the Mars mountains, railguns locked on. Inside the sandstorms, hidden missile pods activated. From the icy poles, drone swarms, launch silent, invisible. Armed, the trap was set. All it needed was a trigger. The Varnak fired first. 2 plasma bursts toward the colony's largest habitat dome. They never landed. From underground silos, 12 Skybreaker interceptor beams launched and intercepted the shots mid-air. The Varnak ships paused. That was mistake number 1. Earth's AI defense system, named Sentinel Core, waited exactly 0.4 seconds, then unleashed the storm. The sky above Mars lit up from the mountains. 3 massive tungsten rounds launched, traveling at near light speed. One struck a Varnak cruiser directly, punching through its shields and engines. That had exploded in silence. In orbit, the enemy panicked. Where are the launch sites? They're firing from under the planet. Shields are dropping. Drone swarms rose from the sands like ghosts, black, fast, impossible to track. They cut through enemy support vessels, disabling communication arrays and jamming command signals. One Varnak ship tried to retreat. It never made it. A cloaked rail satellite above Mars, nicknamed Black Eye, tracked it and fired a kinetic Lance that tore the ship in half. No escape. No warning. No mercy. Back on Earth. President Khan watched the battle feed from a secured channel. Lena Ward stood beside her, arms crossed. Khan asked, "Do they understand yet?" Lena didn't smile. "They will in about 5 minutes." In orbit, Jervak's dreadnought was the last ship standing. He looked at the destruction around him, ships burning. Command gone, silence on the COMMs. And then, from the red clouds of Mars, something emerged. A single human warship. Sleek, heavy, angular, built for destruction. It didn't broadcast its name. It didn't flash warnings. It just moved fast, too fast. It circled the dreadnought, scanning it, studying it. Like a predator testing its prey, Jervak barked, "Fire all weapons." Too late. The human ship fired a full rail burst. Point, dash, blank. The dreadnought shattered from the middle, its pieces falling into Mars's gravity well. Back in the Mars bunker, Alara spoke into the console. Enemy force eliminated. Mars secure. Voss gave a slow nod. "This was never about defense," he said. "This was a lesson." The message was sent across the stars. No speech, no words, just raw data. It showed the Varnak fleet entering Mars orbit and being erased in less than 10 minutes. The galaxy froze. One diplomat in the Galactic Council whispered Europa was a warning shot. This was the answer. For the first time, the Varnak Empire held a full emergency session. Kalvar stood before his generals. The lights were dim, the mood was cold. "They've built faster than we expected," he admitted. "Smarter, deadlier." One admiral asked, "What should we do?" Kalvar stared at the star map. He looked at Earth's system now marked in red. And then he did something no one expected. He stayed silent, because now, even he didn't have a plan. Back on Earth, inside the Revenant Project facility, Lena stared at the next stage of design. Earth had defended. Now it was time to build the fleet. To move forward. To stop waiting, because the galaxy had laughed once. They wouldn't get the chance to do it again. In the center of the galaxy, where stars burn blue and old empires speak in silence, the Grand Galactic Council gathered. The chamber was built inside a moon made of crystal and steel. Species from across the stars sat on floating platforms, some with scales, others with feathers, tentacles, or glowing skin, and for the first time in 1,000 years, they were afraid, because every screen in the chamber now showed the same thing: the Mars trap. 6 Varnak warships. Gone. Human drones, unseen, precise. A single Earth-built warship, silent, deadly. The footage played again and again. No one spoke, and then slowly, the whispers began. The Varnak Empire had been proud, powerful, arrogant. They had ruled council decisions for centuries. They had laughed when Earth first arrived. They had handed them broken weapons and called it a gift. They had watched Europa burn and said nothing. But now, Earth was not laughing. Earth was not begging. Earth was winning. Councillor Viren of the Zelthari, a long-necked being with golden scales, was the first to speak. "I warned you," she hissed. "Humans are not like the others. They don't forget betrayal. They forge it into weapons." The Crater representative, a tall, icy creature made of crystal, responded slowly. "They were not supposed to survive Europa. They were not supposed to build so fast. They were not supposed to fight like this," whispered another. A quiet pause followed, and then Councillor Jarl of the Varnak finally stood. "They are still young," he said coldly. "They are still limited. They only won one battle." Viren looked at him. "They didn't just win, they planned, they trapped you. They didn't fire first. And yet, you lost everything." The chamber shifted in tension. Because now the truth was clear. Earth had not attacked first. They had waited. And when the Varnak came for them again, they answered without words. Back on Earth, Lena Ward walked through the Revenant Lab's observation deck. Engineers worked quietly behind thick glass walls. Weapon systems rotated in slow patterns. AI cores pulsed with blue light. General Vosk entered behind her. "They're watching us now," he said. Lena nodded. "Let them. Council might respond," he said. "They already have," she replied. "They're whispering." On the far edge of the galaxy, another strange signal was received by Earth's deep space scanners. Encrypted, alien, but translated easily. It read, "We see what you've done. We do not agree with the Council. May we speak?" A race called the Olari, once loyal to the Council, now reaching out in secret. Earth didn't reply, but they recorded the message. Others began to follow. The Merak sent data, packets showing their fear of Varnak control. The Arashi offered shield tech in exchange for trade. The Kellen sent music, a form of apology. Earth said nothing, but their silence now echoed louder than words. In the Grand Council, debates began to rise. They've become a threat. They're destabilizing the balance. Perhaps they should be contained. But no one could agree on how. One species warned, send more ships, and they'll destroy them too. Another, speak with them, ask what they want. But no one knew what Earth wanted, because Earth hadn't said anything, they had only acted, and actions were stronger than words. Cal VAR, now shamed, watched from his private chamber on the Varnak homeworld. He saw the fear in the council, he saw the strength in Earth. And in his mind, a dark question formed. What have we awakened? Meanwhile, far beyond Mars, the Phantom-class ships continued patrols. No sound, no lights, just quiet movement across dark space. One intercepted a Varnak scout near Saturn. The human ship didn't destroy it. It let the Varnak pilots see the Earth-built hangar, the rows of new stealth drones, the weapons glowing quietly. And then it sent the pilot back alive. Message sent. No words required. Back on Earth. President Asha Khan stood before a private council of her own. We have shaken the stars, she said. Lena Ward stood at her side. They underestimated us, Lena said, but now, they overestimate us. General Voss smiled. Let them. President Khan turned to the room. We do not seek war, she said, but if they bring it, we will end it. And across every hidden lab, every ship, every bunker, Earth's builders continued their work. Silently. Relentlessly in the council chamber. The final whisper came from an old being, ancient, silent for centuries. It floated forward, voice soft and heavy perhaps. It said, this species is not what we expected. They do not shout, they do not beg, they just build. And then, they strike. A long pause followed, and then came the final words. Fear the ones who stop talking. Jupiter's red eye spun slowly in the darkness, a storm that had raged for thousands of years. Above it floated a monster Varnak dreadnought, 3 kilometers long, painted in the Empire's black and gold. Its message echoed across every human channel. This is a warning. Earth must stand down. You are not welcome beyond your planet. The signal reached Earth. No reply. Then, 26 minutes later, the dreadnought's long-range sensors picked up something strange, a faint signal, a whisper, a human frequency. That it contained one word, leave. Commander Velta of the Varnak Empire leaned forward in his chair. His face was calm, but his eyes burned. They dare threaten us with one word. His officers said nothing. Scanners showed no large fleet, no planetary defenses, just a massive gas giant spinning below, and a few civilian satellites nearby. No warships detected, said the tactical AI. No response units within 3 light minutes. Veltar smiled. Then we shall answer their whisper with fire. He didn't know that Earth had not sent a fleet. They had sent one ship. It floated in the shadow of Jupiter's smaller moon. ELARA. Black. Sharp. Edged. Deadly. No registration, no lights. Only one symbol on its hull. A broken alien crown, beneath a rising Earth. The ship had no name on record, but in the deepest military files, it was called Wraith Class 01, the Silence. Inside the Varnak dreadnought, alarm signals began to blink. Unidentified object approaching from the far side of Jupiter, said an officer. Minimal engine readings. It's not showing heat signatures. Stealth? Veltar asked. No, the officer said. Something else. The Varnak ship charged its main weapons. Beams of plasma hummed along its side panels, target and fire. But before they could launch, the unknown ship moved. Fast. Too fast. Within seconds, it crossed 200,000 kilometers and stopped, just 40 kilometers away, hovering silently in front of the Varnak dreadnought. Its engines made no sound. Its weapons were hidden, but every sensor on the Varnak bridge screamed the same thing. Lethal threat detected. The dreadnought aimed 6 turrets at the ship. Still no response. Veltar narrowed his eyes. Is this bluff? He asked. His officer didn't answer. He was staring at the communication feed. Sir, they're transmitting again. Veltar turned to the screen. Another human voice, clear, cold. This is your second and final warning. Leave. Back on Earth, inside an orbital command hub, General Voss stood in silence. Beside him, Lena Ward watched the data feed. AI models showed the odds. 1 ship against a dreadnought, survival chance, 12%, destruction chance, 88%, confidence in Wraith-class tech, 100%. President Khan gave the order, do not engage unless provoked. Veltar made his choice. Fire. The dreadnought launched a barrage 6 plasma bursts, 3 rail pulses, and a wave of hunter drones. The unknown ship didn't move. until the last second, then it vanished. Not cloaked, not destroyed. Just gone. Seconds later, it reappeared behind the dreadnought and fired. One round, silent, a kinetic slug tore through the dreadnought's rear engines, looped through the internal core, and exited near the command deck. Alarms. Screamed. Artificial gravity failed. Half the lights went dark. The dreadnought drifted, wounded, but alive. Veltar fell to the floor. Returned fire. Fire everything. Another officer turned. Sir, we've lost weapon control. We've lost comms. We've lost. Before he could finish, the human ship sent one final message. This is mercy. Next time, we erase you. And just like that, the ship was gone. Not destroyed, not cloaked, gone. News of the encounter spread through the Varnak fleet like wildfire. A dreadnought dash crippled by a single human ship. No names, no call sign, just a whisper. Leave. In the council chambers, fear turned to chaos. This is not possible. They only had one ship. But it wasn't a ship. Someone whispered. It was a statement. The Varnak delegation tried to calm the room. It was sabotaged. A trick. They got lucky. But no one believed it anymore. Because now, humans were doing what no species had done in centuries, winning alone back on Earth. General Voss stood beside Lena and President Khan. They will come again, he said. Lena nodded. Let them. Khan looked at the stars. They forced silence on us once. Now they hear it returned. As power, and above Jupiter, floating in orbit like a ghost. The damaged Varnak dreadnought turned, and retreated. Because sometimes the loudest message is the one delivered without raising your voice. It began with silence. No alarms. No warnings. Just a deep space Varnak supply base sitting quietly on the edge of Sector 9, built into a dead moon, shielded, armed, hidden, but not hidden enough. Inside its command tower, a Varnak officer looked up from his console, his screen glitched. Just for a second, a flicker of static. He frowned, rebooted the system. Nothing seemed wrong. But outside, above the cold surface of the moon, something moved. Something that did not belong, and by the time the officer looked again, it was already too late. Sector 9 was far from Earth. It was deep inside Varnok space. Untouched. Safe. Or so they believed. The Varnok had used the base there for nearly a century. It stored fuel, weapons, battle data, blueprints for new fleets. More importantly, it was the backup communication node for the Empire's outer territories. If it fell, entire sectors would go dark, which is exactly why Earth targeted it. Operation Ghostwind was planned in silence, for human Phantom-class ships. No crew, fully autonomous, each carried cloaked drones, EMP mines, stealth torpedoes. Their mission, enter unseen, destroy everything, leave nothing. No announcement. No broadcast. No chance for survival. The ships left Earth's shadow stations weeks earlier. They traveled slow. Hidden behind debris, radiation, and solar storms. No signals. No heat, just movements. So careful, even space itself seemed unsure. They reached Sector 9 without being seen, and then, they waited. Inside the Varnak base, daily life went on as usual. Guards patrolled, shuttles landed and launched. No one noticed the dust on the sensors. No one checked the tiny drop in radiation levels. No one heard the drones entering through exhaust tunnels. No one saw the countdown begin. At exactly 3 o'clock local station time, the first blackout happened. Lights flickered, power rerouted, backup systems kicked in. Just a pulse flare. The technician said. Then came the second blackout. Longer, harder. This time, the alarms didn't work. The defense grid tried to restart and failed. Commander Rechtahel, head of the station, stood in the control room. What's happening? He growled. Unknown power drop, possibly solar interference. He slammed his fist on the rail. This station is shielded from solar storms. Check again. But no one could check, because just then, everything stopped. Screens. Lights. Life. Support. Sound. Everything. Except the cold hum of something inside the walls. Something. Human. The drones hit. First they weren't big, they weren't loud, but they were perfect. Each one carried 2 objectives: destroy control systems, plant-shaped charges on fuel cores. They completed both in under 7 minutes. By the time Varnak soldiers entered the reactor hall, they found nothing, just the soft beep of a countdown timer, glowing in blue. On the surface of the moon, one phantom ship blinked back to life. It had no pilot, no cockpit, just orders. It launched its final payload, 5 kinetic rods. Kinetic rods, simple metal, no warhead, just mass, speed, and precision. They fell like comets striking. The base's upper towers, silos, and hangar bays with the power of a small nuke. By the time the charges inside blew, the moon shook. From far away, Varnak patrols saw the blast. The base vanished. No distress signal, no call for help. Just light, then nothing. On Earth, General Voss received a silent confirmation. He showed the footage to President Con, Lena Ward, and the Security Council. She watched in silence. Then she asked one question. Casualties? Lena answered. 0 human. Estimated 14,000 Varnak. Complete loss of strategic node. 23% of their outer-fleet communications just went dark. The room stayed quiet. President Con spoke softly. They will scream, they will threaten. Let them. Then she looked up, and when they asked why we did, it reminded them they taught us how. In the Galactic Council, the Varnak demanded war. They've attacked deep space. They've crossed every line, but other species were quiet. Some watched, some hid, smiled, because everyone now understood. Earth had changed the rules. No war declaration, no speeches, just silent, surgical force. Some called it terrorism, some called it strategy, but everyone agreed on one word: effective. Back in deep space, the Phantom ships vanished again. They left no debris. No trail, no survivors. Only silence. And in the quiet, fear grew, because no one could see where Earth would strike next or when. The Galactic Council Hall was never silent, not even during war, not even during disaster, but today it was. Every seat was filled, every screen showed the same message: Earth requests to speak. For the first time in recorded history, the humans had asked for an audience, not to beg, not to apologize, just to speak, and no one knew what they were going to say. Whispers filled the air. They destroyed the Varnak base in Sector 9. They crippled a dreadnought above Jupiter. They built ships we can't track. Some feared Earth's message, others wanted it, but no one could ignore it. And then, the chamber lights dimmed. A new platform rose from the center of the hall. It carried just one person, not a military officer, not a weapon designer, not even a soldier, but a voice: President Asha Khan of Earth, standing tall, alone, with no guards, no holograms, no drones. Just her. And silence. She looked across the chamber. At faces of hundreds of species, at the Varnak delegation. At the old council leaders. And then she spoke. Her voice wasn't loud. It didn't need to be, because silence had already made space for it. You laughed at us. That was the first line. Simple, quiet, sharp. You gave us weapons that would fail. You watched us die on Europa. You turned away, and you smiled. She paused. But we didn't break. We rebuilt. We learned. And then, we stopped talking. The chamber was still. Not a whisper. Not a sound. President Khan continued. You taught us that diplomacy means nothing without power. You showed us that survival is not given, it is taken. So we took it, quietly, carefully, completely. Varnak Councillor Jal stood, furious. You murdered our people in silence. President Khan turned to him. Her reply was calm. You called it peace while handing us a weapon rigged to explode. We simply returned the message, upgraded. The crowd didn't cheer. They just listened, because they knew. Earth was not bluffing. President Khan stepped forward. This is not a declaration of war. This is not surrender. This is a promise. She looked across the chamber, eyes steady. We will not kneel again. We will not wait to be destroyed. We will not be silent out of fear but out of focus. Then she gave the final warning. If you raise your weapons against Earth again, do not expect a speech. Do not expect a warning. Expect silence. The lights faded. Her platform lowered. She never looked back. And the council did not move for a long time because they understood Earth had spoken just once, and that was enough. Far above, in orbit around Saturn, Earth's newest fleet came online, the Revenant-class ships. Each named not after war, but after lost at Europa. Titan, silence, memory, vengeance. Ready, waiting, quiet, no flags raised, no songs played, just systems humming in the void, watching because Earth did not need to shout to be heard. Not anymore. And when the stars heard Earth's voice, they finally listened.